Alright guys, today's role analysis is with Luke, a 6'4" giant Polish man who's a blue belt under Jake Mackenzie. I really enjoyed training with him. This position right here, kind of called the pendejo guard, which I like quite a bit. It's where my arm holds behind his knee and I bring out my other foot to block his thigh. I love that for the fall sweep. But because of the range advantage and difference, I go into a quarter guard and I preemptively block his back step with my foot behind his knee. I use this to pinch on his foot and drag out his legs. As I work to bump him forward and I realize my first attack isn't going to work, that's when I pinch and I drag it out. Pulling that leg out will expose his base away from me, which is when I can use my knee, hold his sleeve, and bump him through. In general, I think you always want to try to pass right off of a sweep. I get a pretty decent pass position, underhook head control, but he knocks me off balance and he forces me to reset. I ensure to clear his knee line, establish my far side underhook, and I use my head to establish this tripod passing position. As my hand blocks the bottom knee from coming in, I start to get elevated on his butterfly, which is actually a very bad position for me. So look how I collapse my hip, and that allows me to collapse his butterfly hook rather than trying to continue through and getting butterfly swept. His arm is overreaching here a little bit, so I use this to swivel right into an armbar position, throwing my leg over very Manchukuo style. As we go through and I try to use my legs to split his arms, he actually does a nice job coming on top and resetting in the closed guard, and I'm okay with that, as long as I still have positional control. Starting again, I'm trying to tie him up and get a foot in the middle. This is important, especially with the range difference that we have. I'm not used to being the shorter guy around. He does a nice job with this knee cut, getting his body over me, so I have to use energy to push him off of me. I think this is a great strategy in the long run. Since I have his sleeve and his leg trapped on the same side, I'm trying to take him through to that side. And as I do this, check this out, he knows not to travel laterally, but instead upwards and over my thigh. Since I'm underneath him, I use my leg to shift him and enter a single leg X. Check it out, how my knee shifts his body. I bite with my heel, and then finally I free my hand to reinforce my leg, looking for the sweep as I hold his ankle, ensuring that I have a grip before I come up. Once again, looking to set the range so that I'm not stuck in his guard at a very long range, cutting inside. Right here, one of my favorite Del Hiva passes, making that little X with my legs, so when I drop my knee, it'll actually kill the grip on my ankle. He does a beautiful job pummeling his far leg, his left leg, so I have to cut back the other way. As we rotate through, I chase him, and I just try to stay ahead of the legs near the hips, staying attached. I normally will try to avoid using energy and speed like this, but what I don't want to do is end up back in his guard. And when I do here, attempts to pull my elbow through for the triangle, so I insert a staple and I clear my second leg, and he settles the position a little bit. His elbow is high, so I walk it up into an S mount. I don't feel good about going for the armbar because he already escaped once. So what I do is I pretend to attack the first arm to get the second arm to expose itself, and then I pull the wrist over my hip, and I'm able to finish this simple shoulder lock where I don't have to release the position. I think with a guy like this, I want to minimize movement. As we start, once again, foot in the middle, something I always look for, where you can look for simple tripod sweeps, double ankle sweeps. They are super basic sweeps, but very underrated, because even if I just knock him to his butt as I did, it allows me to reset my guard and get better grips when they come back up. I use the omoplata sweep to get the pass, and I sprawl through against his attempt to grab and enter a double leg, and I pin the bottom shin because I know if his knee comes tight to his chest, it'll be hard for me to seal the space. He does a beautiful job here, but as he gets his knee in, I post out so that he can't off-balance me, and I look to get my armpit past his knee where I can control his head and use my head in a nice low, tight position, and I enter a triangle because I do notice one arm is in, one arm is out, and that will always be a triangle. Awesome work by Luke, really enjoyed training with him.